Golden Majesty, Mansa Musa's legendary wealth. Think you know who the richest person in history is? You might be surprised. Forget Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos. This individual's wealth was so great, it's said to eclipse the fortunes of money moguls like Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, Warren Buffett and Jack Ma combined. That brings us to our video for today, as we're going to look into the life of the richest man ever, a ruler from ancient West Africa whose wealth eclipses them all. Get ready to discover the legendary riches of Mansa Musa. Mansa Musa, a name synonymous with wealth and grandiosity. Born in 1280, he ascended to the throne of the Mali Empire in 1312, succeeding his predecessor and becoming the 9th ruler or Mansa of Mali. Mali was no ordinary empire. It was vast, stretching across West Africa from the Atlantic Ocean to the Niger River. It encompassed regions that are part of modern-day countries like Mali, Senegal, Mauritania, and more. But what truly set Mansa Musa apart was his personal wealth and the scale of his empire's riches. To put it into perspective, while Europe was struggling with the aftermath of the Crusades and the ravages of the Black Death, Mansa Musa was presiding over a kingdom whose wealth was beyond imagination. It was during his reign that Mali reached the pinnacle of its power, becoming one of the wealthiest and most influential empires of its time. As a matter of fact, recent statistics show that his net worth today would be around $400 billion. Mansa Musa's rise to fame, however, would be sealed by a journey that would go down in history, the Hajj. In 1324, he embarked on a pilgrimage that would not only transform him into a legendary figure, but also reshape the global perception of West Africa. But this wasn't your typical journey. Mansa Musa set out on a journey to Mecca, a holy city for Muslims. And he did not go alone. He brought thousands of people with him. He traveled with a caravan of over 60,000 people, including soldiers, scholars, and 12,000 slaves who carried gold. Mansa Musa also brought with him 80 camels carrying gold dust and 500 slaves carrying gold bars. Yes, bags of gold. Mansa Musa's wealth was so vast that it was hard to fathom. As he traveled, he gave away gold like it was candy on Halloween. He helped the poor, built mosques, and supported anyone in need. Now, you might be wondering, where did all this gold come from? The Mali Empire was sitting on a literal gold mine. It was one of the world's largest producers of gold at the time. You see, Mansa Musa ruled the Mali Empire, which was super rich. And how was that possible? Well, because they controlled something very valuable, the trans-Saharan trade routes. These trade routes were like superhighways in the desert, and they allowed Mali to trade its gold for other important stuff like salt. Back then, salt was like gold because it preserved food and made it taste better. It was the empire's control over the lucrative trans-Saharan trade routes that brought immense wealth. Gold from Mali flowed north to the Mediterranean, while valuable salt was transported southward. This trade made Mansa Musa's empire the epicenter of economic activity in the medieval world. So Mali had lots of gold, and they traded it for things they needed. This made Mansa Musa's empire incredibly wealthy, and he had access to all that gold, which he later shared during his famous journey to Mecca. It's like having a gold mine and being able to give it away to help others. Mansa Musa's wealth and pilgrimage had a profound impact, not just on West Africa, but on the entire world. His extravagant spending during his journey disrupted the economies of the cities he passed through. The value of gold in Egypt, for example, plummeted due to the sudden influx of Mali's gold. As Mansa Musa made his way to Mecca, he made stops in various cities, leaving a trail of jaw-dropping generosity. He gave away gold to the poor and provided for the needy along his route. His displays of wealth were so extravagant, they left people in awe. It's as if he had a magic purse that never ran out of gold coins. But his generosity didn't stop there. He funded the construction of mosques, which are like special places of prayer for Muslims. He also helped those in need along his journey. Basically, he used his wealth to make the world a better place. Mansa Musa's journey to Mecca wasn't just a long trip. It was one that had a massive impact on the world's money. During his trip to Mecca, he brought so much gold with him and gave it away generously along the way. It was like a flood of money, which actually caused prices to go up in the places he visited, especially in Egypt. This unexpected increase in prices affected trade and markets. People had to figure out how to deal with all this extra gold, changing the way business was done in those areas. And not just that, Mansa Musa's journey made people in other parts of the world sit up and take notice of Mali. They realized how rich and powerful it was, and this changed how they thought about Africa. So beyond his riches, Mansa Musa's pilgrimage had a profound impact on the world's economy, making everyone see Mali and Africa in a whole new light. Mansa Musa's impact on history is like a ripple effect, leaving a lasting impression that's easy to understand. It's not just his wealth, but what he did with it that really matters. He helped build schools and beautiful mosques in Mali, especially in Timbuktu. When he ruled, Mali built impressive buildings like grand mosques and fancy palaces. He showed off how rich and skilled Mali was. They also became cool places to visit and study. The story of Mansa Musa's wealth and journey to Mecca became a legendary tale, like a bedtime story you'd hear as a child. People couldn't believe how much gold he had and how he shared it with everyone. His pilgrimage to Mecca was simply the turning event that showcased the level of wealth he had. It's worth noting that this wasn't the first time a king would go on a pilgrimage. In fact, many rulers of West African states had made pilgrimages to Mecca before him, which made some people feel Musa's journey was nothing short of flamboyance. As he set forth on his pilgrimage, he did more than seek spiritual fulfillment. He became a living advertisement for Mali. Mansa Musa's incredible wealth inspired countless stories and made him one of history's most famous figures. Truly a real-life superhero whose legend never fades away. Thank you for joining us today on History Lens. If you enjoyed this exploration of Mansa Musa's legendary wealth, you're definitely going to love what we have next.